How many of you been to bowl before? Is that how a bowl room rolls? We say good afternoon, everybody. So we are excited to have you here today. We have an incredible panel. We're going to get to them in just a second. My name is Nathaniel Geary. I am one of the bowl coaches that you have the opportunity to meet on occasion when you're traveling. I also work with our bowl team as the director of sales for bowl. So a lot of hands were up about bowl. How many of you been to the new bowl? How many of you should go? There you go. All your hands should go up. And we've got some incredible talent on this stage, including a maps coach, a bowl coach, some rock star talent on scripts. However, we're going to have some fun before we start. We're going to raise a little money for KWFR2020. We're going to do this very quickly. How are we going to do it? So we have two pairs. Vanna, would you show them the pairs? We have two pairs of classic bowl socks. These are bowl socks that will never be produced again because they have the drunk monkey on them. Oh, and we moved from the drunk monkey to the monkey mindset in the new version of bowl. So we're going to raise a little money real quick. Of course, it's not about the socks. It's about KWFR. So we're going to start bidding at 50. Raise your hand. Who'll give me 50, 50, 50? I got 50. Who'll give me 100, 100? I got 100. Who'll give me 150? I got 150. I got two pairs of them. I got 200. 250. 250. I got 250. 300. 300 going once. Oh, 350. She's outbidding you. 350 going once. 350 going twice. Sold for $350. We got two pairs. The first hand to go up is 350 is the second pair. David, you're buying the second pair. Are you ready to have some fun? Are you ready to learn something about scripts? These guys are going to teach you a lot. So let's get to our panel, guys. We're going to start off with, we have four incredible, talented individuals here. They're not in order. They said, should we get in order? No, it's not a big deal. We have Amy Mabe, pronunciation correct. We have Aaron Simons. We have David Long, and we have Jessica Starr. Give it up for them, guys. Give it up for them. So, Amy, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, how long you've been in real estate, all that good stuff.
All the good stuff. Okay. Well, my name is Amy Mabe, and I live in Yakima, Washington. Do I have some Yakima fans here? That's where your hops come from, so if you like beer, that's where your apples and your cherries and your pears and lots of wine come from. So that's what Yakima is known for. It is in the state of Washington. We always have to clarify that. And I have been a realtor for 6 years almost, just about 6 years. I just got my managing broker's license. I have a team of 2.5. And I've really been in real estate, though, and dealing with realtors since 2000. And as a matter of fact, in 2006 and 2007, I got to travel the country and meet with realtors. So I've been talking to realtors and dealing with realtors and doing the realtor thing for a long time.
I love it. Give it up for her, guys. Give it up for her.
Hey guys, I'm Jess Starr. I am from Simsbury, Connecticut. Yes, Simsbury, what? We cover a large portion of Connecticut. If you ever have a Connecticut referral, just call us. If we don't cover it, we'll say who does. My team is a team of 8. We do about 175 to 200 homes a year, which is pretty sizable for Connecticut. And I am a very busy mom of 4. I have been in real estate for 16 years. Started when I was 23. My husband is a stay-at-home dad, had a traffic accident at work, and became that way, and we are very blessed to have him here. And because of that, I had just switched to Keller Williams. I think it's very important for you guys to know this. And when I had switched to Keller Williams, my business went up 114% that year, and found out just before I was pregnant with my daughter, our third. He had his accident, was out of work for a year, went up 114%, and has been doubling year over year since. When I joined Keller Williams, my very first team coach was Pat Mancuso while I was at Berkshire Hathaway. And
you weren't even with KW at the time?
Nope. halfway through, because I am slightly stubborn, I decided to join KW, and I have taken Bold a total of 15 times.
Hi, my friend.
I'm Bold Coach David Hall. I live between Miami Beach and New York City. I've been in real estate for
He's not kidding, by the way.
I'm living the bold life. I've been in real estate for 33 years. I know what you're thinking. He can't do that. And I've been a coach for 22 years. So a lot of real estate sold and a lot of agents that I've worked with all over the country. Thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. David, before you get into David, I'm privileged enough to get to work with you on a daily basis as a Bold coach. And you didn't say this, and yet, how many hours coaching do you have under your belt? About?
Last count, I have performed about 26,000 one-on-one 30-minute coaching calls, so 50,000 hours.
Do you think that's helped you get good at your scripts at all?
That's why you asked me to come here today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of practice, a lot of role play, a lot of...
Give him a hand, guys, give him a hand! And then you guys are very blessed to have a maps coach with us. Aaron?
Yeah, so Aaron Simons out of San Diego, maps coach. Been selling real estate for 15 years. In a 7-year time period, took 1,200 listings, so I might have done that a few times.
Just a few.
And just want to acknowledge you guys for being here, 5 o'clock on day 4. Thank you. Thank you. You know, we're going to talk about scripts, and one of the things we're going to talk about is the dedication that it takes to learn them and to master them. And the fact that you're here speaks volumes. So thanks for being here.
Give him a hand, guys, give him a hand. So, if you have an open chair next to you, would you please raise your hand if you've got some people coming in? That would be great. Because again, our friends from the Fire Marshal and Security want to make sure that we don't have people sitting in the back. So thank you so much. Okay, guys and gals, so we're going to start off with, and it doesn't matter who wants to take it, I'd love to hear from all of you. So, as a coach, we hear all the time from agents their struggles with scripts. In fact, we say the word scripts to people, and sometimes they have this allergic reaction to it, like, I don't want to sound scripted. And it's like, what does that sound like? So let's start with your mindset around scripts. What was it that either allowed you to break through the ceiling of scripts or got you over the hump, if you may, around scripts to actually embrace the process of scripts?
All right, I'll go first. Which is ironic because what I'm going to say is I'm not very good at speaking, right? You know, I consider myself more of an introvert, maybe a little socially awkward. And so for me, the only way I was going to be successful was by really mastering scripts. Because otherwise, I could sit in silence for days and be happy about it. Yeah. So,
Don't you love this? A realtor who needs to talk to people to make money, he's going to sit in silence for days.
well, what better profession to go into besides real estate, where you got to talk, and so it was a necessity.
So what was the biggest thing that allowed you to, I mean, did you have like an aha moment? Did you have like a V8 moment? Like, what was it?
Well, I was very fortunate when I decided to get into real estate. I did have a mentor who said, hey, by the way, you should go to this site, download some scripts, and maybe practice them a few times. And what I did in my antisocial self is I never had a role play partner. I just started practicing them by myself, to myself. And I was mentioning to someone earlier who had asked, hey, I need to find great role play partners. No, you don't. You just need to take the time to actually practice, internalize the script over and over to the point where when you're in a situation, it comes out natural.
So we're going to come back to how we learned them, and I love that you said that. And I'll write down the word internalized, because you're going to hear that word a little bit later on today. David.
Patrick, I want to talk about the mindset that I had is when I got into real estate, I knew I didn't know what I was doing. And when I saw the dialogue, I thought, that makes sense. So I think I was smart enough to know I don't know what I'm doing. And I needed the dialogue. I needed to know what to say. So I just surrendered to that. And I realized that whoever wrote these, they're obviously doing more real estate than I'm doing because I was doing none.
So I hear it all the time. It doesn't sound like me, David. I don't sound like David Long, and I don't sound like Gary Keller, and how did you get over that?
I didn't know what to do, so I didn't.
So you just embraced it.
Well, I was told by a manager, I'll never forget, she said, you have got to, see this coach, and you've got to hear what he says. He teaches you how to talk with expireds and FSBOs. And I'm like, I didn't even know what they were. So I knew there was something to it. I was told by someone, my manager, in fact, it's embedded in my mind, I'll never forget it. I was a pole banker, it was on Sunset Boulevard, it was 30 years ago or whatever, and she was getting into her car, and she said, you've got to learn this dialogue. It's like embedded in my mind. That's all.
So now isn't it interesting? Did you see a pattern develop? Yes or no?
Yeah.
What's the pattern? Well, somebody took a stand for both of them and said, hey, you need to learn these.
Yeah.
And they finally were open to it. I think we'll hear that as we go through. Jess?
So mine's a little different. So I taken bold 15 times, like I said to you guys, and I'm going to admit this, and I'm glad there's people not here that are listening from bold to yell at me or anything.
Oh, it's being recorded.
They asked me to make the calls and everything, which I always made, and I was a big proponent of calling my database my sphere, which is amazing, right? And that was very easy, very natural for me, and I think for people that are IDs, it's very easy. And it wasn't really a script for me because it was just a conversation. So just think about having a conversation with somebody. Come from contribution, have a conversation, care about them, and then it's not a script, right? And yet, at the same time, my fifth bold, I was again with Pat. I've had Pat twice and David once. And I ended up having I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my life story too, because I think it's going to help somebody in this room. So is that okay with you? Yeah. Okay. So at it was my fifth bold that I took with Pat, and my dad had a botched surgery at a hospital. And unfortunately, had to get flown to the Cleveland Clinic. Because of it, I had to be there for him, and I had to leave bold, and I still wanted to participate in bold, right? Because I made a commitment to my team, I made a commitment to everybody, but I had to be there for my dad. So I was like, how am I gonna still do this commitment, still be in bold, sit at my dad's hospital bed, waiting for his heart transplant, and all the stuff that he needed, right? What kind of commitment is that? Who's willing to do that and still try to meet a bold standard? And all I kept thinking was the story of Miracle Man in bold, to get him through all the steps of the process. And we used some of the strategies from that during when he couldn't speak, just so you guys know. So when I was there, because I'm such an emotional person, as you guys can probably tell, these stories may be tough to share, but I think somebody will get something from it. I literally, as he would sleep, all of a sudden, I hate to admit this, yet I did not call the expired census. That was the first 4 steps that I took when I took bold the first 4 times. And yet, I will encourage somebody in this room that does not want to call expireds and FSBOs. Because when he slept, I literally sat in that hospital room, I pulled up my laptop, my mom and brother would go get something to eat, and I would call expireds and FSBOs. Do you guys have any idea why? Because those expireds and FSBOs would never ask me how I was doing. They didn't know, right? Do you know how good I became at expireds and FSBOs? I will script with anyone in this room, and I will set that appointment. So I took listing appointments from his hospital room. I never saw the listing. I signed listing appointments from his hospital room. So for any of you that have a limiting belief on being able to take a listing, on being able to do a FSBO or an expired, you can take a listing, you don't even have to see it. You've seen it in the MLS, you can send somebody from your office. You can, so this is a whole mindset shift that I had in the 5th bold that I took. So, sorry if I'm getting deep, and I know this, so I hope that's okay with you.
It's awesome.
But I really feel like that could probably help somebody, because we all go through stuff in life, right? And you need to have a mindset shift in order to still meet the goals of your family and the things you need to do. You need to get back up and do what you need to do, right? So you can do it.
So in 2000, I started selling advertising, and most of my clients that I sold advertising to were realtors and mortgage lenders and insurance agents and brokers. And it was a one-call close. It was a billboard, some of you have done it, and it was a one-call close. So I literally sat in my car in Seattle on the sunniest of days and the rainiest of days and cold call people. And when I started with this company, I was given the script. And they said, this is it. This is, the wheel's already been invented. Don't reinvent the wheel. Use this script. And that was what I did. I tweaked it slightly for my personality, which I think everybody should do. And I think when you're speaking off of a script, it's perfectly acceptable to add pauses, or sometimes I'll say, you know, I throw those little pauses in there because I want people to think I'm actually speaking to them and not just reciting a script. I want it to be conversational. So I became successful sitting in my car selling advertising on a one-call close basis. And that was what I needed to propel me through the rest of, the last 20 years. Because when I went to work for a different advertising agency that sent me around the country to talk to realtors, I had to stand and speak for 45 minutes, talk about a script, right? So you guys are a tough crowd. I had to stand and go over that. So I learned the script. And so the mindset for me is that if you're in sales, which I think we all are in some way, shape, or form, right? You have to use what somebody else has already come up with when you start out, because you don't know, you don't have any leverage, you don't have any experience at it, and so why reinvent the wheel? If somebody's going to give you something that has worked and has worked well, tweak it to your own personality as best as you can without reinventing it, and use it.
So I'd like y'all to write the word down, conversation. Because I trust that you heard that came through in their dialogue. And the sooner that you accept the fact that it's not a script, it's a what? And you guys have these conversations all the time. In fact, we have them throughout life. How many of you were ever married? Are married? Got married? We just had a bowl coach at the booth yesterday tell us that he was engaged, and his fiance was there, and I didn't know the story, so I said, "How'd you meet?" And he goes, "We met in a grocery store." Okay, tell me that. He goes, "Well, I went down the aisle, here she was, and he had a conversation with her. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever met. I'd love to take you out for dinner." And they're now getting what? And all that was a what? So we sometimes we need some script. Guys, it's just a conversation, and if you've been to the New Bold 2.0, we absolutely are focusing on the conversation. Now, guys, you need to have a strong foundation to the script. Yeah, you can't just willy-nilly it, right? So let's take that and talk about how you have learned conversations. Like, what's your method to learn conversations? Understanding there's probably going to be a couple of different methods up here in that. So Amy, you want to start with that?
Okay, so in 2010, I took the DISC profile for probably the third or fourth time, and that was when I really got what that means and how it works and how to have conversations with different people who are different personality types and different communication styles. So when I figured out how to talk to, the high I and a high D and all that goes along with it, that really helped going forward in determining how I was going to talk to this person, because especially back when I was doing the one-call close, sometimes you'd walk into somebody who was very excitable and very animated, and then sometimes you had somebody who was very suspicious of you. Well, I learned from doing DISC that, those are their personality types and those are their communication styles. So I always, ever since, forever, I'm always trying to listen and read them when I get into the room with them to see what type of personality they might have so that I can start that conversation with them, because sometimes you want to say, hey, thanks for coming to meet me, and you want to just get right into getting to know them. And other times, people don't want the chit-chat, they want you to get to business. So you have to be able to really understand different personality types and different communication styles.
I love that. That's such an important piece. And understanding your own behavioral style. Because we all have a core behavioral style, and if we don't understand our own, even if we understand theirs, and how those mix, that can be a huge issue. Jess?
My technique is just learn how to ask great questions, show care and candor in all you do, and always have a smile. People can hear your smile on the phone. They can feel it, they can feel your warmth. People know when you're happy, and they can feel that you care. So I have more people on an expired call tell me their life story than anything else in 5 minutes. They feel like I'm their best friend. So you need to show care and candor, and you need to come from a place of contribution, because some of these people, you know, we think we're just setting an appointment and it's sales and we're just going through, and we forget it's the biggest investment somebody's making. They could have lost a family member, they could be going through a divorce, they could be having some very wonderful things happening in their life too that are great, and they could just be stressed, right? And so we need to come from that place of contribution and learn how to ask those great questions and listen more than we talk. God gave you 2 ears to listen and 1 mouth, so make sure you listen more than you talk. We talk way too much. That is a big lesson for most of us to learn. And then just, if you're in the room with somebody, make sure you notice their body language too. Are they nodding their head? Are they leaning back? Are they leaning forward? Mirror and match them. And also watch what the spouse is doing, because you're going to know who's the boss, right, in that situation, and who you need to talk to most of the time. So try to cater towards that person, but make sure you have enough communication, just enough with each one, and that kind of thing. So make sure you're just recognizing body language, not just plowing through your presentation. My best client ever is still with me today after the first appointment I ever set, and has done probably 20 plus deals. And he's with me because he initially did the first appointment. As I'm doing the whole presentation, he takes a business card from me and starts drawing devil horns and a mustache on my business card. It was my first listing appointment. And I kind of want to confess a little bit right now.
No, you can't. Not unless you paid Mo for the year.
He goes, ma'am, I'm just going to use your business card right now. And he starts doodling on it. I go, do you want me to cut through the sunshine and BS right now and give you your numbers? He goes, yeah. I go, great. Can I take off these pearls? He goes, yeah. Now you're my listing agent. I go, perfect. He has been with me for 16 years. Right? And now I call him and I go, hey, Rich, I found this property for you. Meet me at noon. Bring your checkbook or I'll bring mine. He goes, okay, kid. And that's it. And he writes an offer, cash. So just know and he owns everything. So just learn your people and learn the way they like to be communicated with, is my thing.
David, how do you learn scripts?
I learned them from writing them down. Literally writing it. I was taught use all the senses. So write it, touch. As you're writing it, speak it.
So slow down. I want you to, guys, you should be writing this down, because in our team, David is one of the people that we really look to learn scripts, and he's giving you the model that we learn as bold coaches for scripts. So I want you to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, I write it down. I'll be looking at it on a piece of paper, yet I'm writing it on another piece of paper. And as I'm writing the words, I'm saying them. So if I'm calling my center of influence, I'm saying, hi, Susan, it's David with Keller Williams. I'm writing it down. So I'm writing it, sense of touch, I'm seeing it, sight, and sound. So 3 senses. And that kind of gets it embedded in your mind faster. Then did you get that? So just write it down as you're saying it. It's very slow. It's a very slow process.
It's gradually, then suddenly.
Well said. Then I record my own self saying it, the dialogue. And listen, back then it was on a cassette recorder, not 8-track.
They had those?
It was a cassette recorder. Yeah, what's that? Exactly. Well, it's so easy today. You have it on your iPhone. It's so easy to do this. So you record yourself, and then you listen to it in your car on a cassette as you're driving around.
David, I don't like the way I sound when I listen to my scripts. What do you say?
I didn't like the way I sounded either. It doesn't matter. I wasn't looking for how I sounded. I was looking for memorization. How do I memorize this stuff? I'll worry about the sound later. I got to get the words.
That's great for team members, though, too. If you're recording, the script that you're saying,
Yes.
you could reuse that to retrain team members as you go, too.
I-
Them on their phone.
And I want to say something to mention, one of the ways that you don't talk too much to everybody, and I'll tell you, you've all been in front of a salesperson that talks too much and feels awful, doesn't it? So one of the ways that you won't is stay on a planned conversation that will prevent over-talking. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the method for me to memorize was write it as I'm saying it, record it, and then listen to it. And obviously have a role play partner. So 3 things. That got it ingrained in my brain.
So I'll second what Amy said about versatility and personality styles. I mean, if there's anything that helped me, there's one thing that helped me the most, it was really learning to become versatile, right? So I know that when I'm in front of a client, I've got to pretty much turn myself into David sometimes, right? I got to be outgoing, I got to be, deliver that Oscar-worthy presentation, which isn't my natural way of being. So when you're in front of someone, you got to go into showtime mentality and understand that it's, that comes with practice. And it can be very uncomfortable. For me, it takes energy. For some people, it's natural. And depending on your personality, you might have to go the other way and slow yourself down and calm yourself down. But it's really understanding how to be versatile. The second thing that I'll point out is that in our business, every presentation, buyer, seller, every situation we're in, there's only a finite number of responses we can get, right? It's not an infinite, oh my gosh, what are they going to say? You know what they can say in every situation. So as David was saying about writing down the script, we'll write out every possible outcome and learn how to run that play if it comes up. And if you practice it, right? Like a Kobe or like a Tom Brady, then it's going to be very natural when you get that objection. It's just going to come right out of you.
Yeah.
And then the last point I'll make on it is that you got to understand that for most people in a sales situation, their guard's up. Think about an open house. Do buyers walk in with bells on and a sign that says, oh my God, I'm so glad you're here, I need an agent? No, right? That's not how they show up. So you have to understand that people are going to naturally show up as a no. It's our natural way of being. Same thing on a listing presentation. You don't walk in and like, oh my God, I'm glad you're here. Can we sign the contract and get our help on the market? No, so you got to know that. And again, when you know that and you understand that that's human nature, you can start to script around it, right? And I'll give an example. So you use a great example all the time as far as when someone walks into a department store to buy something, right? So for example, let's say you need a new pair of shoes.
Yeah.
You're probably going to Neiman's. Saks? All right, fine. So you walk into you get in the car,
Yeah.
you drive to the store, you get out, because you're there to buy shoes, correct? You're going to buy. Yet, when you walk into the store and the salesperson comes up and says, can I help you? You say,
No, I'm just looking.
right?
Yeah, we all do
We all do it. Yeah.
Right?
Go by.
So when a buyer walks into an open house, what are they saying to him?
Just looking.
They're inside the store, right? Salesperson comes up a second time and say,
Finding everything okay? That's what they say, because if they didn't say it, they'd be fired. See, they have to follow the dialogue from the training courses.
Because somebody's paying their check, and if they
That's
don't
right.
follow the dialogue, they're gone.
Right.
and finally the third time you're holding a shoe and you say, yeah, I'll take this in a size 10. You're there from the minute you walk through the store to buy that shoe, yet you rejected that person twice.
Yes.
Look, I was at Costco a few months ago, and anyone goes to Costco or Sam's Club? Anyway, I'm a gold member, which is like the lowly member.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. I'm at the checkout counter, and she's like, oh, you qualify for executive membership. I'm like, no, I'm good, no thanks. She's like, no, it's gonna save you money. No thanks, I'm good. I don't need to save money. And by the time, so I rejected her twice. Finally, the guy comes over as I'm about to push my card out, and he's like, no, just come to the computer. I'll show you how to save you money. I'm looking at the computer, see how to save money, and I'm still like, I'm not quite sure I want to do that. That's how strong our natural reflex is, our no is. And you just got to understand that. And when you understand that, you can start to write scripts around it.
And Aaron said something where there's only a limited amount of scripts and objection handlers. And I had in a Boulder at one time, I had somebody raise their hand and go, hey, coach, somebody came into I was meeting with somebody and they said, somebody had died in the house, how would you market this house? And just like that, I said, I'd say people are dying to get in. Now, I didn't take the listing, it wasn't mine, that was the coaching. Here's the point. You're not always going to say the right thing, say yes. you're gonna screw up sometimes. Yeah. So I want to come back to you guys, because Jessica, you brought this up, and I know you all do this at a high level, and you brush over a little bit. I'm not gonna brush over it, because it's the most important thing. Aaron, asking questions. We talk to people all the time as coaches, and we talk to them about asking questions. Oh, I know how to ask questions. Oh, I know how to ask questions.
Be more specific. I'm not a creative thinker.
So, highly successful sales agents, highly successful salespeople, high-end attorneys, high-end detectives, you name it. They are versed in their ability to ask questions.
So the questions I'm going to ask, let me answer it this way. The questions I'm going to ask, I already know the answers to. Because I don't want to be surprised.
Stop right there. What do you mean by that?
All right, well, can we use open house as an example? Can I just went through a quick script?
Absolutely, let's go. I'll be back.
Hold on. Who has phones in here? Bring out your voice memos on your phones and hit record.
Great way to go.
All right, so I'm going to walk you through a series of closing questions that are designed where I know the answer to every question.
Let's go on right now.
Right? It's going to end up in an appointment.
Okay, let's go on
All
right.
right. So, buyer walks into an open house, they walk through, they take the tour, and now they're about to walk out of it. Right?
Ready to go.
So the obvious question to ask that person is, so David, would you like to buy the house?
I'm not sure.
Great. Now we already know the answer to that question because 99% of the time the answer is going to be no or not sure.
Yeah.
Right? So I already know the answer. So question 2 is designed to answer no or not sure. So here's question 2. So David, what would it need to have for you to want to buy it?
We're looking for a place with a pool.
Got it. So you need a house with a pool.
Yes.
Well, based on that, let's set up a time to meet so we can help you find a home that has a pool. Do weekdays or weekends work better?
Weekends,
Oh,
really.
you're too easy. They're not going to say that.
Oh, I'm not interested. Get away from me.
Yeah, exactly. 99% of the time, I think they're just going to say, "Oh my gosh, yeah, let's meet." No, they're going to give us a pushback at some time.
All right, you know what? We're just in the beginning phases of this. Thank you. No thanks.
Okay, I appreciate that. You're just starting the search, right?
Yeah, right.
So, David, what's the ideal? This is question 4. So, what's the ideal time frame for you to be in a new home?
When we find the right home.
When you find the right home.
Yes.
Well, that's exactly why it makes sense for us to meet. In fact, if we can find a home that's not yet on the market, where you can avoid the competition and get the best deal possible, is that something that you'd be interested in?
Yeah.
Great. So would a weekday or weekend work better for us to meet in my office? So we can show you what we do to find those homes.
Well, weekends would be better.
Okay, great. So those 5 questions are designed where I know the answer already to every single question. I'm leading them down the path of an appointment, but it all starts with, would you like to buy the house?
Now, that was excellent, and I want to tag something onto that hopefully will zone it in. Telling isn't selling. He didn't tell me anything. He didn't tell me how great he was. He didn't tell me how long he's been in the business. He didn't tell me how he knows the area. He didn't tell me anything, did he?
No.
Selling is asking questions. Telling isn't selling.
In fact, if you were listening, and I know you were really carefully, the 4th question he asked would be impossible for them to answer no.
And it didn't matter what his answer was to question 3.
Right.
Question 4 is designed to, it's a catch-all. It makes no difference what he says.
Run through the questions again.
Yeah, so the novel first question is, would you like to buy the house?
No.
What would it need to have for you to want to buy it?
Whatever they say.
Based on that, let's set up a time to meet so we can help you find a home that has that feature. Do weekdays or weekends work better?
Whatever they say.
Great. What's the ideal time frame for you to be in a new home? Doesn't matter what they say.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then the bit is, every great objection seller starts with, that's exactly why it makes sense for us to meet. And then whatever value proposition. I love the off-market one, so the one that I used was if we could help you find a home that's not yet on the market, where you could avoid the competition and get the best deal possible, is that something that you'd be interested in? It's hard to say no to that. Is that the end all? We might still have a little meat left on the bone to explain ourselves, but we're going down the path of an appointment.
Here's one other thing that when you do this a lot and you go through the repetition, at some point they don't have a response for you. their brain doesn't work fast enough to have a response for you, and that's where it's the deer in the headlight, and that's where you know that their brain paused, and now you have an opportunity to impact them. True or false?
True.
Yeah, absolutely. David? So questions. I want to come back to anything else on questions.
Well, just that I learned I learned this through my clients, not necessarily as a real estate salesperson. I learned it as a coach. That my best clients were always, get out of the answers, get into the questions. Get out of the answers, get into the questions. Because when you're talking and telling, can you learn anything about them?
No.
Nothing. You can't learn their time frame. You can't learn if they're motivated. You can't learn if they're qualified. You learn nothing when you're talking. So it's, I've always learned that telling isn't selling. Now, I'm not saying you're never going to talk and tell. Of course you will in the course of working with a client. All I'm saying is when you're doing that, you're not selling. Does that make sense?
You can't find anything out if your mouth is open and theirs isn't.
Yeah. So it's just, get out of the answers, get into the questions.
So here, I want to give you kind of a lay of what we're going to do for the rest of the time together. We're going to do some role play. I'm going to throw some objection handlers at them and then have them role play them. And we're going to save some time at the end for questions. So just so you know, I want to kind of give you that lay of the land. Anything else on questions?
One really brief thing on questions.
Yep.
One question you can ask that you can make yourself a boatload of money if you ask this one question. Are there any other pieces of real estate I can help you with today? Instead of, because that one client, Rich, yes, I need to sell the big Y. You have a grocery store you own? Yes. I never knew you owned a grocery store. I own all the space services on Blue Hills Ave as well. Did you want to help me sell those? Sure. Asking that question, I got 8 other investment properties. Just by hanging up the phone with the expired listing, I said, are there any other pieces of real estate I can help you with today? Yes, by the way, I need to sell 8 other properties. Great. Would you like to give me those addresses now or later?
We have Bold Agent who, with the new 2.0, the script, you have 2 minutes, tell me the problem, taking a great class today, we're in a competition, you need at least 10 referrals in order to win, and the client says, no, I don't have anybody right now, and because we've given them more flexibility in the conversations, he adds, oh, by the way, the competition will go for another 5 weeks. If you come across somebody in 5 weeks, would you let me know? We had 64 referrals in the remaining 5 weeks of Bold. Just by adding that piece to adding that extra question.
That one question will make you more money, and it doesn't say, do you know anyone that needs to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Because you said, are there any other pieces of real estate? So that makes it
Love it. Gets their brain in a different place.
Are there any other pieces of real estate I can help you with today? So that could be a business too. There's other pieces of real estate we're not thinking of. People need to rent homes, they need to sell homes, they need to buy homes. They have businesses they need to sell. They have buildings they need to sell. They have land. They have waterfront property. So think bigger than what you're thinking. You're thinking micro, think macro.
Amy, anything else you would add? Questions?
I'll add that, first of all, questions, yes, absolutely. You're there to ask questions and write them down, and it's like you've never heard those answers before. You've heard them a million times, but to that person, oh, really? This is interesting. Let me write this down. When I do a buyer's consult, it's pretty intense, and I have a lot of questions that I know the answer to already, but I'm going to ask it again, and I'm going to write it down, and my teammate is going to be entering it into the computer. And it's important for you guys, especially if you're newer, to find somebody, a mentor, take Bold, get coaching, what it takes, so that you can get those initial questions without trying to come up with them off the top of your head, because there already are questions and phrases and things to ask that we know work. And I think that's when a lot of people get stuck, is that they don't know what to say. But again, don't reinvent the wheel. Nobody who is a mega agent created the wheel. They copied it from somebody else, R&D, right? So.
Okay, so now we're going to have some fun. I'm going to throw some objections at these guys. I don't know who's going to take them. We haven't really rehearsed them. Somebody's going to just jump up. These are going to be some common objections, and then we're going to have that time at the end where if you have some common objections, okay? So you guys ready?
Are we going to have fun?
Yeah. Cheers. Cheers.
Now imagine sitting in a room with 1,000 people, you have no idea what objection is coming. And yet, if you practice, you're always prepared. There's no fear over there. I'm not going to throw them any, how would you market the house if somebody who's died, died enough? That's how we're going to do. So here's the first one. I'm going to wait until spring. Whoever wants to take a jump up.
I'm going to say, Pat, so what I hear you saying is you're considering waiting until spring. Is that correct?
Yeah, David, we don't want to put our house on the market right now. It's got snow on the ground, there's snow on the roof. We're just not ready to have mud coming through the house.
Okay, so other than waiting until spring, is there any reason that you wouldn't list with me?
No, not other than that. Unless you can make the snow go away.
Well, I wish I could. Pat, if there were a financial benefit to selling now rather than waiting, could you change your plans?
Financial benefit?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Well, let me share with you the numbers. Now I would take you through the market statistics to show that interest rates are historically low. We know what the property is worth today. We don't know what the future holds. The objection handler is, if there were a financial benefit to making a move now rather than waiting, could you change your plans?
Okay.
Or you could get really assumptive and say, if there were a financial benefit to selling now rather than waiting, you'd want to know about that, wouldn't you?
Okay, so what is wouldn't you?
I know.
Just so y'all know, that you're hearing in the conversations here, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and tie-downs are one of the things that make questions very powerful, and David used one at the end. You also, in there, there's something else you did.
Isolated it.
That was it. He isolated the objection, and we talked about this in bold as well. If he doesn't isolate the objection, and I have 3 of them, and he solves the first one, I'm going to come back with the second and third one, and we're going to be back to like first base. Does that make sense, y'all? Say yes? Yes. So he did that, and these are the things that I want y'all to hear and pick up, because that's what makes you really good at your scripts, is these subtle little things. Okay? And you want to take the same one, or anybody else want to run it? Okay, good. And Jess, you know what? I'm not ready to sell right now. I'm going to wait until the summer.
So let me understand this, Pat. Are you waiting to sell solely because of the snow? Do you have to prep your home before the spring market? Or is there another reason that I might be missing here?
No, it's just I think the house will show better in the summer.
During the summer, that makes sense. So why don't we go ahead and do this? Let's go ahead and sign the contract. We're just going to future date it for, let's say April, because the snow will be melted by then. We can go ahead and start the pre-marketing then, and then we'll get you on April 15th, so that we can get you ready to celebrate the spring market and be ready to market your home, so that we're not missing any potential buyers in the spring. And then we'll close you right in June when summer kicks off. How does that sound?
Well, Jessica, I'm sorry. You kind of want me signing a contract now, and I'm not ready to do that. Is that what I heard you saying?
Well, it sounds like you're ready to list with me. Am I right?
That I could agree with. I'm not ready to list right now, though.
I can understand that. So, see, what happens with us is we get very busy in the spring market. And what we like to do is make sure that we have your marketing timeline all lined up and we have the right photographer set up for you and we get the staging set the way that we need it. So we like to prep you ahead of time and make sure that we're prepared. So the way we do that is get your paperwork set ahead of time to make sure that we can commit to you just like you're committing to us.
So you mean I can put my house on the market in June? I just have to list with you today.
We can do that if that's what you want as well. However, Pat, I feel that you'll be missing the spring market by doing that and closing the timeline that you want.
So tell me what you mean by I'd be missing the spring market.
Well, see, in our area, Pat, if you list your home in June, what's going to happen is you'll put it on the market in June, everybody's going to graduate about 10 days later, and then everybody takes off for summer vacation. So
I'm not going to make as much money in June?
You're going to end up making less money in June. And as a matter of fact, if you chose to list your home in February, you'll actually make more money. Can I explain?
Now she's got me. She did something there, another NLP technique, embedded command. List with, right? So understand those are subtle brain interruptions, if you may. Okay, I'm going to throw another one at you. I've got a friend who's in real estate. Now, do some of you get tongue tied with this one?
You've got a friend. You know, Pat, that's interesting. Most people do. Most people have a friend in business. I'm curious, are you considering hiring your friend because you're absolutely certain they can negotiate you the best possible price and terms, or are you just doing your friend a favor?
I'm really just doing him a favor, David. I mean, it's my brother's nephew.
You know, I understand, and I have to ask, do they sell here locally?
Yes.
Oh, they do? Okay, terrific. If your nephew is unable to get the job done, could that cause any rift in the family?
Oh, there's already enough rift. That's why I want to list it with him.
What concerns me about that, Pat, is if he's unable to get the job done,
Right.
could that cause a problem?
Oh, we'll take him out.
And let me say this, if I would assume this is a family member?
Yeah.
I have to assume that your family would want the best for you.
Absolutely.
And now, I'm going to stop there real quick.
Yeah.
I would have to learn a little bit about the nephew, and then compare my stats with the nephew, and say, I know your family is concerned about your well-being, and I know they would want you to be in the best hands. Let's do the right thing and sign the contract. Now, if push came to shove, I may include the nephew. Give the nephew a referral to do something.
Mentor him, put him under your wing.
Great, get him into Keller Williams.
Get him How would you handle that, Aaron?
Well, I think he could close you a lot quicker than he did, right?
Now stop, you're going. Is David going to feel offended? No, he's going to go.
Right.
Right, because after his, in the first handler, which was, are you looking to do the friend a favor, or are you looking to hire the best person for the job? So are we in agreement that it's better to let friends be friends and business be business? Great, let's go ahead and start the contract.
That's
Love it.
the
Say that
the
again.
lane I go down to.
Yeah, okay, so listen.
You win this one.
Well, no, I just got, so sometimes it's better to let friends be friends and business be business. So let's go ahead and do the right thing, let's sign the contract so we get you home in the marketing issue.
Now, let me point out something, if I may. Two different responses to two different behavioral styles, I will guarantee it. That response would work on me and my behavioral style. David's response might be a better response for a different behavioral style, more one that needs to understand, I don't want to use the other thing we're not supposed to use. Not the disc.
The dynamics of the relationship?
Well, yeah, a little bit too, right? That's my only point bringing that up, is there's going to be a different script maybe for a different behavioral style. That really work on a high, like, let's get it done.
Well, then, and then the other quote, when it came up that it was a nephew or relative,
Yeah.
and this isn't my script, but I heard it out there somewhere, and the saying goes, or the script goes, have you ever heard that saying that when you do business with family, Thanksgiving will never be the same? Yeah, let's not do that.
It's a great script.
I heard it out there somewhere.
Go ahead.
I frequently, throughout the week, I can't tell you the number of times that I will say, whether it's on the phone or in person or wherever, I do not want to step on the toes of anyone else. And I just take that real humble approach. If you're working with your cousins whose sister is married to your whatever, I don't want to step on their toes. But then I go right into that errand lane and discuss the fact that, it might be a little bit risky. And I just take a real humble kind of, you and I, we could be friends after it's over. I hope we are, but set up some drama down the road. And usually when people, I've found, and I'm in a small town, like a lot of you are as well, but I've found that when people are saying that they're going to work with their friend or their family member, it's because that person has told them that there's no other option for them. And it's kind of like that reverse psychology of the abuser saying there's nobody else who's as good for you as I am. So you just got to give them a little push.
So we've got this thing in our company called the database. Are we focusing on the database, everybody, yes or no? Yes. How many of you have at least one person in your database you have no idea how they got there? I just love the story that Josh told about the agent who had all these leads from their social media posts and no idea how they got there. How many of you have somebody in your database that you did a closing with 8, 10, 12 years ago and you haven't called them since then? I bet there's more hands in the room, you just don't want to show it, right? So I want you to role model, because people always say, like, I haven't talked to this person in 8 years. Right? Because we're really focused on the database, you guys. I haven't talked to this person in 8 years, what should I say? And I was kidding, the first thing is, oh, what do you say? So I'm the person you haven't talked with in 8 years, let's go, we'll role play.
Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hello, Pat.
Yes, this is Pat.
Oh, Pat, I'm so glad I caught you. It's Aaron over at Keller Williams Realty. How are you doing?
Who is this?
It's Aaron over at Keller Williams. I'm so glad I caught you.
Oh, I'm doing good, Aaron.
Yeah, hey, I wanted to give you a quick call. I know it's been a while since we spoke, and I was just checking to see if you might have any real estate needs I can help you with right now.
Oh, I don't. It's been a long time since we've talked, Aaron.
I know. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good. So it sounds like the house is still working for you.
It is. I'm still here.
You're still there? Great. So let me ask you this question. Do you know of anyone who is looking to make a move that I should be talking to?
Okay, so...
Actually, correction. Who do you know?
Yeah, who do you know? Yeah. So let's do it again. Somebody else, okay? I'm going to be a little more challenging.
Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey, Pat, it's Jess Starr from Star Realty Group at Keller Williams. How are you?
I'm good. Who is this?
It's Jess Starr from Star Realty Group at Keller Williams. We helped you buy a house about 8 years ago.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
Has it been 8 years since we talked?
8 years, can you believe it? I know, Pat. You know what? I actually had you on my heart. We got this amazing new database. Your name came up, and I just couldn't stop thinking about you. I felt so bad I hadn't connected with you in so long, and I just wanted to reach out to check in with you. How are you guys doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. I feel bad now that I haven't called you in 8 years.
I know. How have you guys been? How's the house?
And right, I mean, and then you just move, you see how they're moving right beyond this, and it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I haven't called you in 8 years.
Well, but here's one other thing you might say. So depending upon, look to see when you sold these people these houses. Because I remember when I started in real estate, interest rates were about 6.5%. And right now we have this great thing called Keller Mortgage. So if you recall in your database, you might want to call them and say, hey, I don't know if you're looking to invest in real estate, if you're looking to refi, but I remember when you bought, interest rates were about 6.5%. And I just refinanced my house, bought an investment property, and they're about 3.75, 4%. And I haven't called in a long time, but I thought maybe I could give you a gift. I'm going to give you the name of my favorite Keller Mortgage guy, and I want you to just give him a buzz, because maybe you could save a few $100s a month. Would that be all right with you?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Is it okay with you if I stay in touch just from here on out? I'm so sorry I didn't do that, and I just want to make it better going forward.
Absolutely.
Great.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have a lot of people who are sitting on a lot of equity in their houses right now that they can be putting in investment property, and you can be creating more inventory because of what they're sitting on. Remember, our job as real estate agents is not to sell them a home, it's to help them build their wealth through the ownership of real estate. So here's what I want to do. The microphone's right here for questions. We're going to start questions. I'm going to give them one more, and then I'd love to have you line up behind the microphone and ask a question, and then let them rock and roll. So, I'm in an open house. I come into the open house, and I don't want to give you my contact information. Oh, wait, we did that already. Let's do this one. I don't want to sign a buyer's contract. So I don't want to sign an exclusive agreement to work with you. Guys, how many of you are not using exclusive buyer's agreements? You should be. Gary talked about this yesterday from the stage. So, go.
So can I just preface that?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, so you got to give them a value proposition before they sign that contract. You don't walk into a listing appointment and not do some sort of value proposition before they sign the listing agreement.
I mean, you can't just shout it in front of them and say, I need you to sign this because the legal department says so?
So let me do an abbreviated version of that, right? So I met you at the open house. I talked to you about the off-market properties. You came into the office, right?
We're at the office.
So I run through my 8-point plan on how I find those properties, right? We identify the neighborhood. We're going to call through it. We're going to door knock it. We're going to direct mail it. We're going to call the for sale owners. We're going to call the expireds. We're going to call the agents who farm the area. I'm going to make that commitment to you. That's what I'm going to do on your behalf.
Okay?
So Pat, all I ask for in exchange to everything that I'm going to do to help you find a home is that you commit to working exclusively with me as your buyer's agent. Now what that means is, when you buy a home, I get paid a commission. Now you want to know the good news?
Yeah, is this good news?
It's great news. In fact, the commission is paid by the seller, so really my services don't cost you any money. Isn't that great?
That is, except do I have to sign with you exclusively?
Yeah, so what we do is we sign an agreement, which again, commits me to you and you to me.
Okay.
And we sign that agreement for 90 days. Because here's my commitment
It's
to
going
you,
to take
Pat.
us 90 days to find a house?
No, It may not take us 90 days, and in fact, for most of our buyers, we're finding them a home within the first 6 properties we show them. Make sense?
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun. 6 houses.
That's what we're gonna do. So let's go ahead and sign the contract so we can go ahead and get started finding a great home.
Now, if you ever had somebody say to you, ooh, 90 days? Probably.
Yeah, I don't care.
Because frankly, I signed one previously and the agent said the exact same thing you're saying and they disappeared.
Well, I find it hard to believe that they said the exact same. No, I'm just kidding. So I can appreciate that. I apologize for that experience. Now, let me ask you this question. What would be your concern or hesitation hiring me to go to work for you?
That what you say you're going to do, you don't do.
Yeah. So if I made a commitment to you each week to give you an update on exactly what I'm doing, would that be okay with you?
That'd be good.
And the week that I don't do that, you have the right to fire me.
Ooh,
Not fair?
that'd be even better.
All right, let's go with that.
There you go. There you go.
Pat, can I add something?
Yeah, give him a hand, guys. Give him a hand.
What you're noticing here is a mindset. It's a mindset. Same over here. It is a mindset that this is how I do my business. Now, I have to, does everybody work with you? No. Does everybody work with you?
Pretty close.
Love her. The idea is it's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
Many people will buy into it and some won't. And the ones that don't, so be it. Next.
So, one of the things that as a coach I've always said is they either outscript you or you outscript them. So when somebody says, well, I don't want to give my house away, you're either going to be better at your script so they price it correctly, or they're going to outscript you and you're going to cause them harm. Guys, you're protecting people's equity. It's so important you know the words to say.
And you have to remember, an objection is the pathway to a close. No objection gives you nowhere to go. So pray for the objection, because then you can isolate it, and then you can close.
It's like, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on.
One thing I would add, I love listings too, and you were saying that about, pricing it and what you're going to do to people when you're doing that. People get so fearful about the price conversation, especially with the markets right now, because a lot of people are losing money and that kind of thing, and they'll say, we put in so much money, and I'll say, hey, did you enjoy it? And they'll go, oh, well, yeah, I enjoyed it. Great, I enjoyed it, perfect. So we got that out of the way. So you keep moving on. So, because they're not always going to make money from the improvements that they've made, and they'll keep pushing to that price. But here's the thing. Sometimes you need to break the ice, too, to make them realize that they might be being ridiculous, too. So, my team will laugh at me because I am ridiculous sometimes is what I say to people. However, it is a script. And I'll have somebody go, well, you know what, we really feel like $400,000 is the price of our home. And I'll say, I understand that, and yet, what makes it different from all the $350,000 comps that we're seeing right here was all the same upgrades, features, and benefits, and improvements. And they'll say, well, we really think that it looks a lot better than the rest of them. Okay, I get that. And right now, I like a 23-inch waist, but that's not happening. So that's what they do. On the 350 inside right here.
I always had a great one, and I'd always say, they would say, well, we need to get 400. I said, 1,000. I'd say, great, let's pull out your checkbook. And they'd look at me and go, why? I say, because you're the only one who's going to be buying that.
I just want to say one quick thing in regards to buyers and getting a buyer's agency agreement. So in my buyer's consult, when I'm writing down my question or writing down their answers, I like to ask, tell me about a time that a realtor did a great job for you. Tell me about a time a realtor did the opposite and not a great job for you. So I try and find out previous examples of what they thought was great and what they thought was bad before we even start talking about the buyer's agency agreement. And then I like to tell them, what's going to happen here is I'm going to end up earning your business. I hope we can sign this today. I would love to sign this today, and I love you, and I really want to work with you. But I know that I need to earn your business. And so I am going to educate you on what you need to know. Advocate for you for the times that you need somebody to stand up for you. EAR, I'm going to refer you to the people that you need to know, whether those are inspectors or lenders, and I'm going to negotiate for you. I'm going to earn your business. I really want to work with you, though, so I like you so much. Let's do this, right? I want to be yours, you want to be mine, right? Yeah. Press R, there's 2 copies.
Okay, so tell us your name, tell us where you're from, and quickly, we want to get through as many questions as we can now. Here's what, so we can get through them all. Let's not have you all answer them. If there's something to add, that way we can get through a bunch of them. Or you can ask who you'd like to ask questions to. Go.
Okay, my name is Bowtie Ben. I'm from Colorado Springs. My question is regarding
Because I don't know if you realize this or not, but I just stepped into this amazing new career. I loved working with you, wanted to reconnect with you, and make sure you had all my contact information, because just like we work together so well, I want to serve you again. And if we can connect on this level, let me know. I'm buying and selling houses on a daily basis. I love my new career, and I'd love to help you and all your loved ones. What's the best way I can reach you? Get all their contact info. The best way too, guys, by the way, when you meet anybody, here's a tip. All of us, what do? We take our business cards, right? And you all hand out your business cards. It's very rare I like to hand out my business card. Do you know why? Because I want your information. So I ask you to give me your information, or I will friend you on Facebook or something like that. So make sure you're always the one capturing the information more than giving, because more than likely they're going to throw that card right out.
Or now you just whip out the phone and get them on your app. Go.
My name is Michael Sullivan from Palm Springs, California with the Brady Sandall Real Estate Group. Brady is a walking, talking script and still practices all day, every day with a bunch of different people. I want to ask you two quick questions. One, how do you stay current on your scripts and practice? And two, I would love as many partners as possible for this. It will stand in the front of the class at the end. If anybody needs a role play practice partner, I'm there.
Well,
You're asking like if we have script partners?
How do you stay current and continue to practice your craft? Because it's always changing and evolving, and if you're not continuing
Shower,
to
practice in the shower.
I mean, think about it. Did Patrick go home and practice before the Super Bowl?
I have 3 to 5 script partners a day.
It's just practice.
But, yeah, before every listed appointment, we would go through exactly the script, what the objections were, and we would role play it.
Within your team? Yeah, absolutely.
And Pat said something at the beginning of this. There's only a certain amount of objections you're going to hear, and they don't change. They're the standard. You hear them all the time. It's the price, it's the marketing plan, it's
Commission.
It's the commission, it's the length of the contract, it's having a friend in the business. I want to wait till spring. There's about 8 or 10. They really don't change. Just practice the responses to them, and you are on an incredible team. That is for sure. Yeah.
Hello, it's Grant McCauley, Move QC team from the Quad Cities, and I am not working with realtors while I'm selling my home. No realtors, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'll sell it myself.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. I'm curious. Have you had a bad experience in the past with a realtor?
No, I sell medical devices. I'm a salesperson. It's fine. I got it. I got QC Fisbo, and I got Home Show, and I'm on Zillow. I'm good.
That's fantastic. That's good. How much time will you sell all on your own before you even consider interviewing agents for the job?
Oh, I'm never interviewing agents. No, I sold my other house. I sold it, and my wife helps. She does the showings. It's great.
Here's what the minute they start telling you they've done it before and they've had success, I'm not interested. That's just me. No, I'm not.
Really?
No. They've
What
done
about
it 2 or 3 times.
Can I check back in 2 weeks and see how it's going?
I'm just talking about me.
Okay.
In my career, the minute they tell me they've done it a few times, I'm out.
I'll go down the road on this one, all right? So I can appreciate that, and you know what? There's a good chance you probably will sell it on your own based on the market, right? I mean, it's a pretty hot market out there. Yeah, and chances are you're probably selling it because you don't want to pay the 6% commission.
Well, of course.
Yeah, exactly. And have you had a lot of agents calling you saying that you'll net more if you list it with an agent? Have you gotten that?
Every single day, I hear it.
Have they actually explained to you why that is?
No, they actually haven't.
Yeah, and is it okay if I just share that with you real quick?
You've got 2 minutes.
Yeah, because here's what's interesting, right?
Someone's texting me to come see it tonight, actually.
Well, yeah, we're in conversation. We're going to stay in conversation. So here's the thing about it, right? You're selling because you want to save that 6% commission. Now, what happens is a buyer who sees your home as a first by owner, they know you're not paying a commission, right?
Well, okay.
Yeah, trust me, they know you're not paying a commission. So in their minds, they want to save the 6% also. In fact, I know that you said you're listed at what, 300,000?
Yeah, 300,000.
Yeah, have you received any offers in the 260 range, 250 range?
You know, we haven't gotten any offers yet, but it's only day 7.
Yeah, but chances are, if you do receive an offer, it's going to be lower because the buyer's factoring in that commission. They want to save it. So the question is, how can you and the buyer both save that same commission?
We can't.
You can't. So my question is, if we could list your home and get it sold and get you the same amount of money as if you sold out on your own, we took care of all the paperwork, we took care of all the liability. Is that something that you'd be interested in?
Now I'm interested because I'm going on a business trip with family reunion, and I don't know who's going to be here to show it this weekend.
Wait,
Thank you.
Real quick, because I want to make sure we get to as many of these people. Go ahead.
Does anybody else have a for sale by owner question in there? No. Oh, this is a really good one.
Go ahead, just real quick, go.
All right, guys, you for sale by owner, I'm gonna go back to you. So pretend you're for sale by owner for me, all right? So, ring, you're being my for sale by owner.
Maybe David should be the first owner.
Let's go, all right, be my for sale by owner.
Yeah, hello?
Hi, this is Just Star. I just drove by your house at 123 Main Street. Look, I saw your for sale by owner sign.
Yeah.
Is that your house yourself?
I am, yes.
That's so great. Listen, I just was wondering if I could come by and preview the house real quick. I've always got a ton of buyers in the neighborhood and just wanted to see if it could be a fit for one of them. I don't know if it is because I haven't seen it yet. That'd be all right? I've got some time available. Would a day or evening be better for you?
I'm here throughout the day, yeah.
All right, awesome. So could Tuesday at 10 or would Thursday at 4 be better for you?
Tuesday's fine.
Awesome. So I'm going to be by then. And just curious, Steve.
Are you going to bring your buyer?
I'm not going to bring my buyers. I'm coming by just to preview to see if it could be a fit for them.
I see.
And it might not. But see, we get buyers on a daily basis because we are, a top team in town. But however, my question for you is, when you do sell your home, where are you planning on going?
I'm going to Cincinnati.
Oh, perfect. And
Okay, so can we, because now you're there, you transitioned them, right?
well, here's the thing. The myth that most people have is they don't treat a for sale by owner as a potential buyer.
Exactly. Keep
So-
going, okay, go.
So, do you have an agent in Cincinnati?
Well, I've been there a few times. I've spoken to a couple of agents, but I'm sort of working with someone.
Sort of. Okay, well, when I come by, I'm just going to bring a list of a couple people that I trust out there that are friends of mine that I love to refer you to. And quick question for you, too, as well. When you are showing your home, are you showing your home yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, can I just ask you, how does that make it any different than if you were selling an item on Craigslist?
What do you mean?
Well, when you sell an item on Craigslist and somebody comes to buy it from you, do you typically let them in your house and take it into your basement to take and buy the weight bench from you?
No, I would, no.
Because why?
Well, there's no need for them to come in. I can take it outside. I can
Probably
put it on the
safety.
porch, yeah.
Yeah, so would it be all right with you if I also brought with me a 10-point security checklist, just to make sure that you're safe when you're showing your home?
Sure.
Okay. Now, I'm going to also probably just check in with you to see how you're doing. I just want to make sure that you guys take care of yourself. I like to make sure the people in our community take care of themselves. Is that okay?
Of course.
Awesome. And if this is a fit for one of our buyers, I'll set up an appointment to come by next week. I'll bring this referral with me as well. And I'm just going to touch base with you. If it isn't a fit, then when you are ready to sell your home, I'd love for you to keep us in mind. Is that okay?
That's totally fine.
Perfect.
Cool, awesome, I love that. Okay, go. Yeah, we'll give them pause to everybody when we're done. I want to make sure we get all these questions. Go.
Hi, I'm Amy Embreed. I'm in the Washington, D.C. market. David Long was my first bull coach 2.5 years ago. And I went into his bull class and I was like, that guy's crazy. Scripts are dumb. I'm not doing it. And I raised my hand. You remember me? Every single
Very well, yeah.
And all these limiting beliefs and mindsets. And here I am, thirsty to learn. I got over those limiting beliefs.
And in mastery coaching.
In mastery.
That is awesome.
I closed not quite 10 million last year, and I am so
Yes.
ready to do this on
Yes.
a larger level. So my question is, what do you recommend that we study to learn more about adjusting the script to a personality type on the test? Like how do you
Let me help you with that one. It's real easy. Career vision.
Okay.
That's because you're going to go learn about all behavioral styles, and that is really the answer. It's career visioning.
Okay.
Because then you're speaking the consistent language within the company. It's just career visioning.
That's a lot. So I guess, and what scripts are you recommending that we practice? You guys are awesome, and I want to do it at that level. So how? Tell me how to get there.
What
What scripts am I practicing? There are written scripts that you are.
Who do you want to meet here? First, we go to the database first.
Database, you got to start doing that DTD2. Oh, what would you find in Bold? Come get back into Bold 2.0.
No, that's your
I
answer.
want more than both.
That's bold. You got it.
Customers who are very influenceable by people like, from their company or their parents or something, and presented with we've heard horror stories of working with friends. How would you handle that?
Oh, we gotta go the opposite direction from earlier today, right?
Opposite of before, yeah.
Yeah, well, you're just gonna double down on the friendship. Look, here's the good news. As your friend, I have 100% incentive to make sure this goes as smooth as possible. And to be upfront, to be honest, and to be your fiduciary. And I promise you, each step of the way, I'm gonna take the best care of you versus someone who doesn't have the relationship we have.
And millennials want you to educate them, so provide items of value and educate the heck out of them.
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
Next, thank you so much. So,
Sales, you gotta learn how to go both ways, right, Pat?
absolutely.
Bye, Melanie.